Welcome to Hollywood Secrets Information. In this video, we are going to uncover 10 massively underrated Hollywood movies from the last 50 years that deserved far more love, recognition, and box office success than they actually received. Some of these films were ignored when they first released, while others were overshadowed by bigger blockbusters of their time. But over the years, audiences discovered just how brilliant these hidden cinematic gems truly are. From mind-bending science fiction and emotional dramas to unforgettable thrillers and cult classics, these movies prove that great storytelling does not always guarantee instant success. So stay with us until the end, because some of these underrated masterpieces may become your next favorite films. Let's begin. 1. The Shawshank Redemption, 1994. When The Shawshank Redemption first arrived in theaters in 1994, it surprisingly failed at the box office despite starring Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman. Released during the same season as huge hits like Pulp Fiction and Forrest Gump, the film struggled to attract audiences. But over time, viewers realized they had overlooked a masterpiece. Directed by Frank Darabont, the movie tells the emotional story of Andy Dufresne, a banker wrongfully imprisoned for murder who forms a deep friendship inside Shawshank Prison. The film's themes of hope, patience, and freedom deeply connected with audiences around the world. Today, it is considered one of the greatest films ever made and regularly ranks at the top of movie lists. Its incredible transformation from box office disappointment to legendary classic makes it one of Hollywood's most underrated success stories. 2. Blade Runner, 1982. Blade Runner is now regarded as one of the greatest science fiction films ever created, but in 1982, audiences and critics were divided. Directed by Ridley Scott and starring Harrison Ford, the film presented a dark, futuristic world filled with artificial humans known as replicants. At the time, many viewers expected an action-packed adventure similar to Star Wars, but instead received a slow, philosophical mystery exploring humanity, memory, and identity. The movie underperformed financially and confused mainstream audiences. However, years later, film lovers began appreciating its groundbreaking visual effects, haunting atmosphere, and intelligent storytelling. Today, countless filmmakers cite it as a major inspiration for modern science fiction cinema. What was once considered a box office disappointment eventually became a legendary cult classic admired across the world. 3. Children of Men, 2006. Released in 2006, Children of Men is one of the smartest and most intense dystopian films ever made, yet it never received the mainstream attention it deserved. Directed by Alfonso Cuarón and starring Clive Owen, the movie imagines a terrifying future where humanity has become infertile and society is collapsing into chaos. Although critics praised the film's realism and technical brilliance, it earned modest box office numbers. One reason may have been its dark tone and complex themes. Over time, however, audiences recognized the film's genius, especially its breathtaking long-take action scenes and emotional storytelling. Many people now consider it one of the most realistic portrayals of societal collapse ever shown on screen. Its powerful message about hope and survival feels even more relevant today than it did during its original release. 4. The Thing, 1982. When The Thing was released in 1982, critics harshly attacked the movie for its shocking violence and terrifying creature effects. Directed by John Carpenter and starring Kurt Russell, the story follows a group of researchers trapped in Antarctica with a deadly alien that can imitate any living being. The film was released shortly after the more family-friendly E.T., causing audiences to reject its dark horror atmosphere. But years later, horror fans began celebrating the movie's incredible practical effects, suspenseful storytelling, and psychological tension. Today, many critics consider it one of the greatest horror movies ever made. The fear and paranoia created throughout the film remain unforgettable. What once shocked audiences is now praised as a masterpiece of horror cinema and one of the finest works of John Carpenter's career. 5. Fight Club, 1999. Fight Club shocked audiences when it premiered in 1999. Directed by David Fincher and starring Brad Pitt and Edward Norton, the movie explored consumerism, identity, and male frustration in a way mainstream Hollywood rarely attempted. Critics initially gave mixed reactions, and many viewers misunderstood its dark satire and violent themes. The film also performed below expectations at the box office. However, after its home video release, the movie slowly gained a massive cult following. Audiences began quoting its dialogue and analyzing its hidden meanings. Today, it is considered one of the most influential films of the late 1990s. Its bold storytelling, unforgettable twist ending, and unique visual style transformed it from a misunderstood movie into a modern classic admired by millions around the world. 6. Donnie Darko, 2001. Released shortly after the tragic events of September 11th, Donnie Darko struggled to find an audience in theaters. Directed by Richard Kelly and starring Jake Gyllenhaal, the film combines psychological drama, science fiction, and mystery into a deeply unusual story about a troubled teenager experiencing visions of a terrifying rabbit figure named Frank. Many viewers initially found the movie confusing, and its low-budget release received little promotion. But over time, fans discovered its emotional depth and fascinating exploration of destiny, time travel, and mental illness. The film eventually became a cult sensation, especially among younger audiences. Today, many people consider it one of the most original independent films of the 2000s. Its haunting atmosphere and unforgettable ending continue to inspire debate and discussion even decades later. 7. Heat, 1995. Although Heat received positive reviews in 1995, it still feels underrated compared to other crime classics. Directed by Michael Mann, the movie famously brought together Al Pacino and Robert De Niro in a legendary battle between detective and criminal mastermind. The film featured intense action, emotional storytelling, and one of the greatest shootout scenes ever filmed. Yet despite its quality, it was overshadowed by other iconic crime movies over the years. Modern audiences now recognize how influential the movie truly became. Many modern filmmakers and action directors openly admit they borrowed ideas from Heat. The movie's realistic approach to crime, unforgettable performances, and emotional depth continue to make it stand out even decades later. It remains one of the finest crime thrillers Hollywood has ever produced. 8. Office Space, 1999. Office Space barely made an impact during its theatrical release in 1999, but later became one of the most beloved workplace comedies ever created. Directed by Mike Judge, the movie follows frustrated office worker Peter Gibbons as he rebels against boring corporate life and annoying management. At first, audiences ignored the film because its humor seemed too specific to office culture. But as modern work life became increasingly stressful, more people connected with its hilarious and relatable story. The film's sarcastic humor, memorable dialogue, and criticism of corporate culture turned it into a massive cult favorite. Today, many office workers still quote scenes from the movie because they feel painfully realistic. What once seemed like a small comedy eventually became one of Hollywood's smartest and most relatable satire films about modern working life. 9. The Iron Giant, 1999. Despite receiving excellent reviews from critics, The Iron Giant performed poorly at the box office because of weak marketing from the studio. Directed by Brad Bird, The animated film tells the touching story of a young boy who befriends a giant robot from outer space during the Cold War era. The movie combined emotional storytelling, humor, and powerful anti-war themes in a way few animated films had done before. Over the years, audiences discovered the movie through television and home video, and it slowly became a beloved classic. Many fans now consider it one of the greatest animated films ever made. Its emotional ending continues to move audiences of all ages. The film proved that animation can tell deeply human stories capable of touching millions of hearts around the world. 10. Edge of Tomorrow, 2014. Edge of Tomorrow is one of the smartest action science fiction movies of the modern era, yet never became the massive blockbuster many expected. Directed by Doug Liman and starring Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt, the film follows a soldier trapped in a time loop during an alien invasion war. While critics praised the movie's action, humor, and originality, confusing marketing hurt its box office performance. However, audiences who watched it later were surprised by how entertaining and intelligent the film actually was. Its combination of thrilling action, emotional growth, and creative storytelling helped it gain a loyal fan base. Today, many viewers consider it one of the most underrated blockbuster films of the 2010s and continue demanding a sequel. And that wraps up our list of the top 10 massively underrated Hollywood movies of the last 50 years. These films may not have received the appreciation they deserved during their original release, but over time they proved their greatness and earned loyal fan followings across the world. Some became cult classics, while others are now considered cinematic masterpieces. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Hollywood Secrets Information for more amazing movie countdowns, celebrity stories, and hidden Hollywood secrets. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.